The Green Bay Packers have announced themselves as Super Bowl contenders. After shutting down the Detroit Lions offense in Week 1, the Packers follow it up with another great showing against Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders on Thursday night. The final score doesn't really reflect how good the Packers defense was, but there was a real point where the Packers were outgunning the Commanders by a margin of more than 200 yards. The main reason behind this large disparity was none other than Micah Parsons. The newly acquired edge rusher from Dallas has already made a huge impact in Green Bay, as despite him being on a pitch count to start his Green Bay tenure, he's still wreaking havoc on opposing offensive lines and quarterback. The box score doesn't do Parsons justice. I know it says he just has half a sack, but he did wreck this game. He drew 3 offensive penalties along the way and proved to be a very disruptive force to any Commander's blocking scheme. Just like the season opener, the attention on Parsons allowed the other Packers defensive linemen to get after the quarterback. On Thursday night, Jayden Daniels endured 4 sacks, including from Edgerrin Cooper, Carl Brooks, Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary, Baron Sorrell, and of course Micah Parsons. Green Bay's defense snuffed out several Commanders drives that could have resulted in points or made this game a lot closer than it looked. Anytime the Commanders tried to threaten the Packers defense slammed the door. If Micah Parsons continues to make this type of impact, there is really no stopping him from winning this year's Defensive Player of the Year award. Flipping into the offense, Jordan Love and the offense leaving some points on the board, they certainly can rack up yardage in bunches. On Thursday, this was a night where the tight ends were a massive point of emphasis in Green Bay's offensive attack. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave combined for over 150 yards of offense, and Jordan Love yet again was efficient and very smart with the football, as I hardly saw him put any throws in harm's way. And looking at Jordan Love with about 2.5 years worth of tape at this point, as he's been Green Bay's starter, he's been kind of that guy where he definitely displays a little bit more of Brett Favre. So far, I really like how he's playing this year. The one thing I would like him to see is now work on that connection with Matthew Golden, because he is your first round draft pick. You picked him so high for a reason, and now that connection is gonna absolutely have to develop because Jayden Reed missing significant time due to a broken collarbone. For the Commanders side of things, main takeaways is that they just look like an old, slow team that could not keep up with the younger, faster Packers. Already seems that injuries are piling up. They lost Austin Eckler and Dietrich Wise to season-ending injuries, and understood that it's on a short week, but these are freak accidents. You can't blame a short turnaround on some offensive lineman rolling up on your leg and tearing your quad tendon, or your Achilles tendon rupturing when you're trying to make a cut. So these are freak accidents, but still, it's very sad to see that both these players are now going to be out for the rest of the year. Obviously, wish them a speedy recovery, but in terms of the actual offense, like I said, Micah and the Packers defense really disrupted any type of momentum that the Commanders offense were trying to generate, as it seemed that last year they were far more explosive and willing to air it out. But in year 2 of the Jayden Daniels era, it seems that it's a lot of short, intermediate passes, especially where you see guys like Deebo Samuel taking a slant pattern, and yes, he scored a garbage time touchdown, but Terry McLaurin has been really bottled up to start 2025, and it's understandable that a defense like the Packers, with Jeff Hafley calling plays, is going to really clamp up when the time comes. But it's not like the Commanders don't have the personnel, and I think it was really poor execution, and we saw that Washington's inability to move the ball until the game was essentially out of reach in the fourth quarter is very concerning. I know they really made it a point of emphasis to beef up the offensive line. You traded for Laramie Tunsil, and I thought that would be an impact for sure, but so far it's not looking that way, because I said that Jayden Daniels got sacked 4 times, but he was under siege for much of the night, and that's really why a lot of these passes ended up being short, intermediate passes, and he was under pressure, like I said, most of the night, 21 pressures. And so far, the offensive line doesn't seem to be gelling well with Jayden Daniels, and he did sustain a knee sprain on Thursday night as well, which at the time of this recording, he's not declared out just yet for the Week 3 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, but it definitely seems that his Week 3 status is in doubt for him to miss the first game of his career. While there was no real turnovers in this game, there was still a lot of miscues that led to empty possessions for the Commanders, namely 2 field goals that were missed, and that proved to be evident of them losing by 9 points. It could have been a 3-point game. A couple of turnover on downs as well definitely came back to haunt the Commanders. And the weird part was also I have to give some critiques to Dan Quinn here, where in the first half there was some issues with clock management where he just let too much time go off the clock and send out his kicker to take a 58-yarder, which would end up in a miss. Dan Quinn has already been a head coach with the Atlanta Falcons before. He should know this by now. It's not like he's a rookie head coach. So really bad clock management there. And so far through 2 games, it definitely seems that Washington is nowhere near the NFC contender many people thought heading into this season. And with the news of Jayden Daniels suffering this knee sprain that may leave him out for at least a week, maybe 2, it definitely will impact the Commanders' hopes of returning to the playoffs.